Hi there. My name is Kimberly Ernest, and I'm a licensed psychologist and licensed professional counselor. I also happen to be the Executive Vice President of Pennsylvania Counseling Services. Today, I'm here to talk to you about those really bad days of leadership. I want to talk about the days where you feel like the sky is falling down and the walls are caving in. The days where you're the dog in the "this is fine" meme, everything is fine, where you're sitting in the chair, dead-eyed, looking forward, and the whole world is burning around you. So when I'm talking about those days, every once in a while, I've been one of those silly humans that says something like, well, at least it can't get any worse. And then, as if the world is listening and the universe has its ears turned on, it inevitably gets worse. I either have a client that calls in crisis, or I get another resignation that I just really wasn't prepared to deal with. Maybe I'm navigating a really challenging ethical dilemma, or a problem or a concern with a personnel issue that just feels uncomfortable or icky or outside of my scope or sphere of competence. It is really challenging when we find ourselves in those moments as leaders. Some of the hardest parts, or one of the most challenging bits for me, is when my life outside of work deals me a new hand that I wasn't prepared to navigate. And I find that I'm carrying it with me throughout my workday as well. So I'm here to talk to you today about a very specific skill from the dialectical and behavior therapy literature called improving the moment. And improving the moment simply means that we are taking this huge problem and we're slicing it as thin as possible to the present moment. We're taking the thousands of steps and pieces and mess, and we're not pulling any threads or trying to solve any problems. We're just trying in this moment to make the situation 5 to 10% better so that we can tolerate our own distress in a way that is more effective and more helpful in the moment. This isn't going to solve the world's problems. This isn't going to change the barriers that we have in hiring or recruiting qualified staff or retaining those that we've invested our hearts into. It's not going to make our caseloads any lower acuity or cause insurances to provide us higher reimbursement rates. It's not going to solve any of those capital P problems. But improving the moment is designed to allow us to tolerate our own distress more effectively and allow us to not take a bad situation and make it worse by engaging in maladaptive or problematic coping. So when I talk about improving the moment, first and foremost, it's important to recognize that DBT loves themselves some alphabet soup, and improving the moment is no different. It uses the IMPROVE acronym to try to take a bad situation and make it just slightly better. The I in improve is imagery. So one way in which you can improve the moment is to take a moment, pause, be in the certain space, and imagine yourself in a completely safe space. For me, it's at home, in bed, with a hot cup of tea, a great book, my dogs, sometimes my husband, and just being in that safe space, quiet and alone and present. Maybe yours is out in the garden with your feet in the dirt and the bugs crawling on your skin, nurturing something that you're growing. Maybe it's running on a trail, pounding the sand as you're investing in your physical health. Whatever it is for you, it's taking 5 deep breaths, going into that space in your mind and really imagining, using imagery to be safe. You can also use imagery to imagine yourself successfully coping with the situation you're facing now, or imagine yourself what it's going to look like 6 months from now to put it into perspective. It's tapping into your creative skills and putting your mind to work to help you feel better in the space instead of worse. Maybe it's taking deep breaths and imagining the calm and resiliency flowing into you on your inhale, and imagine painful or harmful emotions flowing out of you on your exhale. Whatever it is, it's simply using imagery to make yourself feel better in that space. The M in improve is the recognition that sometimes life deals you painful situations that aren't your fault, but even painful and difficult situations can result in a higher meaning for us. So if you find yourself in what feels like an impossible or hopeless situation, you look for the ways that you can focus on the things that are important to you. Your values don't change just because your circumstances are difficult. And so trying to reconnect with them can often be one way in which you can take that which is painful today and have it guide you towards things that aren't maybe the most obvious at first. When you look for meaning, it allows us to hold, it gives us a why when we're trying to navigate the difficulty of the how. The P in improving the moment stands for prayer. And prayer is going to mean different things to different people. It can mean praying for strength or seeking a strength in a higher power when the moment means difficult. For those who don't subscribe to a higher power, sometimes it simply means meditative or introspection, looking for something that allows you to connect to that wise mind within all of us. Some situations call for an approach that's bigger than our usual, and prayer or meditation is one way in which we can acknowledge that connection to something bigger than ourselves. R in improve simply stands for relaxing actions. It can be a warm bath, a hot shower, yoga, deep belly breathing, going for a walk, petting a dog, screaming into the void, whatever works for you. Sometimes when we're in that down headspace, we engage in this problematic behavior of seeking out all these other things that reinforce the down versus feed and nurture our souls. Being really intentional in those relaxing actions can be meaningful and powerful in changing the narrative and allowing us to hold things just a little less tightly. When we look at those relaxing actions, one of my favorites is to turn on some jams. Whenever I'm walking into a difficult meeting, a problematic therapy session, a high-risk personnel issue, I am always pumping some tunes on my way through the door. Right now, my favorite is Sammy Rae's Bulletproof Denim Jacket. If you need something to help you feel invincible, Sammy Rae and the Friends, give it a listen. I promise it'll make things like 3% better. The O in improving the moment is one thing in the moment. Bringing a mindful focus to that which we're doing. Most of the time when we're suffering, it's not only because of a painful situation, but because of the thoughts it brings up about the past or worries it brings up about the future. But right now, really all we need to do is get through the next moment. So noticing when your mind starts getting caught up in thoughts about the past or worries about the future and bringing your attention back into the present, whatever you're doing, and practicing those mindfulness skills to make the moment slightly better. The V in improving the moment is this idea that we all need a vacation. This is a skill that allows you to give yourself that break, and as long as doing so doesn't create further problems for you. A vacation should be brief, ideally no more than a few hours. It can involve going back to bed for a while, turning off your phone for the day, clocking out in your brain and watching TV for a few hours. The form it takes or what it looks like is entirely up to you. For me, it's chicken chores. My hands are too dirty to check my phone. I'm outside. I get to feel the sun on my face and watch my beautiful sentient little beings cluck and look for worms and all kinds of things. It's simple, it's quiet, and it takes me back into the here and now and allows me to clock out and move away from just rabidly trying to solve a problem. Sometimes you need to step back and get that perspective before you can see things more clearly. Last but not least, the E is encouragement. Sometimes we need to be our own cheerleader. So often we are so self-critical. And so that's what makes this skill so powerful, because it allows us to zoom out and lead with examples like, I can get through this. I'm doing my best. This is hard, but it's temporary. Talking to yourself as you would somebody you love. I often have to think about the way in which I talk to myself and how different it is than anything I would say to my 6-year-old when he's navigating a challenging situation. My 6-year-old is so creative and has a very specific vision for that which he seeks to create when he's drawing or painting or doing art. Sometimes he can get really frustrated because his vision, he's not able to execute his vision perfectly and exactly as it is in his mind. I have no idea where he gets it, probably from his father. But one of the things that I've noticed is that when he's struggling, I lean in and I say, buddy, oh man, you're doing the best you can. This is really frustrating. But I think if you practice and keep trying, you'll get it eventually. But you're doing your best. It's hard, but it's temporary. When I have that same struggle, when my vision isn't being appropriately executed, or I'm finding myself stuck or lost in the sauce, I find the language I turn on myself is, what is wrong with you? God, any other idiot could do this, but you're the problem. Come on, Kim, suck it up, buttercup. And a lot of other not suitable for work language that I often use in myself. In the improve the moment, intentional moving towards encouragement, we pause and we treat ourselves the same way we would a child or a human that we love, somebody that we want to nurture, somebody that we're leaning in, and we would treat them as we would a trusted friend, supervisee, trainee. And we're not talking to ourselves with that usual narrative that sometimes is a less than kind. So at the end of the day, my challenge to you all is to take one or more of these improve the moment skills and try them out in the next week or two. It's great to try these skills out in the good times so that when you are that dog, dead-eyed, staring forward as the world burns around you, you have a little bit of practice with the skill. And if nothing else, check out Sammy Ray and the Friends. Thank you.